Hi, I'm John Robert Sutton. I travel the globe searching for the finest ingredients and the hidden gems that have been overlooked by mass distribution. Food that is shared by a generation of families, culture, and tradition. I will connect you to the stories behind well-sourced food and the people and places who make it happen. Welcome to Truth in Food. Well, today, you all know about Italian food. And today I have Gionvanni Negri, who is an importer of the finest Italian products from Italy. Would love to hear your story, Gianni. Welcome.
Good morning. This is Giovanni. Buongiorno. I am an Italian that loves food, as everybody else does in Italy. And I have been traveling and teaching producers in southern Italy how to communicate with the American brothers and being able to deliver the product in the United States. So I'm an importer of pasta, dry pasta, which is in Mulino di Gragnano, and egg pasta, which is called Marilungo, which is made in Campofilone in the east side of Italy. And the tomato. The tomato is the Corbarino, is the most gorgeous, tasteful tomato that money can buy.
How did you get into this? What made you really look at these amazing ingredients?
Well, obviously the fact is that I noticed that every time I would go to Italy, I would feel a little bit better with my digestive system. And I said to myself, well, as soon as I have some time during my retirement, I spent my life in the racing business. I wanted to apply some of my energy and go and try to talk and communicate with the family. They make this amazing product. So through a friend of mine that works for the government, a senator, we discussed the possibility. And in 2006, I accepted the invitation. I flew to Rome. They picked me up. And I started to do a seminar in the Centro Agricolo Alimentare in Salerno. Then I realized that my passion would even draw me further into being involved and make sure that the product that I would be an importer would be worthy for the American people.
Yeah, fascinating. So many products in America, a lot of people don't realize they have Italian names on them. They have fancy packaging, but when you look at them, it's made in the USA or even made in China. What is going on with Italian products in America these days?
Well, the main problem is because the IGP, which is to identify the product that comes from the country, has a very funny definition, or the certification is not truly that the product that says made in Italy is Italian. In fact, in Europe, if you put 5% of the growing product that is Italian or French or German, will be entitled to be qualified or classified 100% from the origin. And that is not a good thing. So before I did anything, I wanted to make sure that I had to visit where the food was grown and made. The grain field, the planting of the tomato, to me was very, very important. And I actually succeeded. It was costly, but rewarding, because at the very end, I'm talking to friends of mine that are chefs in restaurants in the United States. They said, Gio, you really scored. Congratulations. So I'm proud to say that the product that I import is 100%, beyond any question and doubt, that is origin from Italy.
Now, speak a little bit about the stomach. You mentioned how America, a little bit of the stomach issue, but you go to Italy and that kind of goes away.
Yes, that is in the beginning when I used to go for vacation. Even my children, they would say, Dad, why we go over there and visit your family? We go to the south and we eat and eat and eat, and we never had a problem when we got up in the morning. They never had a sour taste in their mouth. I said, well, unfortunately, some of the processed thing that you find in this country, in the United States, is not really well controlled. And, there's a lot of chemical, and chemical do induce problem in your intestine. Yes, bloating and so forth. I don't know what to say, but every time I watch the television about this probiotic invasion, it's due because the product, the food is no longer naturally grown the way some people still do in Europe. And the people that I do business with very, very much are concerned about that.
And what is so interesting about that too is the chemicals that are used, so much of that is coming from water, the water that is used, the problems with pesticides and all of these things that are used to grow wheat, and all of Monsanto's problems with the insecticides that are getting rid of that. Talk about the organic nature of these products. They're 100% organic through and through. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, the number one issue is that when it comes in relation to the pasta, the company, the kids that I work with, actually, when I say kid, they're young men from the age of 22 to 28. And of course, they have an incredible experience because they are born and raised in Gragnano, where there is the origin of the pasta in Italy. The little city was born 79 years after the birth of Christ, and the Roman wanted to get this beautiful grain, and they called it Gragnano, which means field of grain. So the idea was that if I just use product where the Roman were growing and the Greek, I would probably do it well. Now, this dry pasta in Mulino Gragnano. So the city Gragnano is where the pasta was born. In the 10th century, there would be close to 50 companies that would make grain and pasta. So the principle was pasta is water and grain. It's a simple deal. But the water has to be perfectly, naturally, with a lot of vitamin. The water in Gragnano comes from the Valley of the Mulini. It's a well where the water goes through the Vesuvio mountain and is purest. In fact, other company in Italy, they have to add vitamin to the process. Gragnano does not need to do that. So the grain that we use to make this pasta that is called the Mulino di Gragnano is grain that grows in a field that is the only existing that grows grain like the Greek, Roman, and 3,000 years ago. So we have about 20 old farmers that cure the growth of the grain. So the grain goes into a mill. So the mill only does use grain. This one doesn't mix with other type of grain. So we wanted to make sure that the field is the purest field, the grain is the cleanest one, and the mill is the only one that does only this grain. Then it goes into our company and is packed and manufactured with machine that reproduce exactly the way the old pastai did the pasta many centuries ago.
And, people have to understand that the earth is really a living organism. I mean, you have volcanoes that are erupting, and that is the true natural fertilizer for the earth. It's the regenerative process. So some of the healthiest, most natural, most fertile lands on earth are where volcanoes are located. And this volcano is the famous Vesuvius that buried Pompeii in 79 AD. So talk a little bit about this region that the pasta and the tomato sauce comes from.
Okay, well, basically, you have to see the Vesuvio by facing it, because people think, well, it's a volcano, just blew the top. No, the Vesuvio blew 3/4 of the mountain itself. Imagine blowing dirt and land across, and across the Vesuvio there is another mountain called Mountain Lattari. It's a chain in the south. And in the other side of this mountain, there is a Costa Amalfitana. So the tomato is planted in February between trees of peaches, lemon, and so forth. And it grows without any irrigation. Why? Because in the other side of the mountain, every morning the cloud climb the mountain and then dribble the mineral on top of it. And unfortunately, is that there is a limited production. But no matter what we see, the result is an incredible healthy product that is being tested even by scientists, and they make claims obviously the tomato has some enzyme that protect your intestine, but the corbarino itself is even excelling that they say will protect the possibility of cancer in the intestine.
And what we're going to talk about here is truly the world's finest, most limited tomato sauce you'll find on the planet. Even The Guardian in England had an article about the scarcity and the luxury of having this product here, which Gionvanni imports into the United States. Talk about the world's greatest tomato sauce.
Yes, we call it the natural tomato sauce. Making sauce, the secret was, and sauces were something that France originated many, many years ago, because to cover some of the other things that were not pleasant. At a certain point, human said, well, we should do something because sometimes food is not as very tasty to our gland, and so they created sauces. This is a natural sauce. It's a tomato that is by itself a sauce. So actually, most of the chefs suggest me and said, Giovanni, when you do this, don't spend too much time in cooking it. Just take a pan, put some olive oil, a little bit of garlic, and cook this tomato 2 or 3 minutes, and it's enough, without adding any other form of spices. And it's an incredible, tasty tomato.
What is the name of this variety of tomato?
It's called the Corbarino. Corbarino because it's the size of it is a small pear. It's only 2 inches tall, has a limited production. In fact, you can buy seed and grow it, but unfortunately, people try, unless it grows in Corbara, which this valley, they got the benefit of the dirt from the Vesuvio, and the water even over there, it's incredible. And the benefit of the sea, they drop the mineral over there. So unfortunately, we own 98% of the production of the Corbarino because can only be done in Corbara, which is the city, the name of the city over there.
So you're the only person that is able to bring this into the United States.
Yes, I'm the one that I'm the importer for the Corbarino. We have a gentleman in New York because the difficulty to ship, we have to share. So what we do, we create at the point where you can buy. But in the West Coast, in the United States so far, the rest stock of tomato is me. I'm the only person that carry pallets of tomato because I do have a great deal of client, and obviously been doing this for a few years over here.
So if you think about it, you have a volcano that's right next to the sea, and in a part of the world, the latitude of this is perfectly set for that beautiful Mediterranean sun, as well as incredible water that's flowing through the mineral layers of that volcano, with the dirt, the sun, and then the sea bringing the natural salts to make the world's finest tomato.
Yes, indeed. It's just an incredible, let's call it a miracle, natural miracle.
Wow. And so when you open this up, you don't need, so many Americans, they are putting oregano and salt and pepper and cheese and everything all over this stuff because there's no flavor anyway to start with. So all you need is to open this up and that's it.
Yes. In fact, there is a recipe that is a world recipe of the pasta. It's called pasta with a tomato, and it's in Neapolitan they call it la pasta con the pomarola in goppa, which is mean that a pasta with a tomato on top. And this makes the best combination. And every chef that I know of, whether they're Michelin star or not having the luxury to have such a price, they will recognize that the best pasta combination is pasta and pure tomato like this on top. And it is an incredible, tasty dish.
Well, one of the secrets is that they're the largest catering company for the film industry. When you are taking a break filming, all the A-list celebrities, what they're eating is actually this sauce, if there's pasta served that day. So the little secret there, as well as Shutters serves this, yes, and Factory Kitchen in downtown L.A. So by those 3 alone, they're getting the best.
Yes.
Now, I would love to then, when people think of Italian food, we just covered the sauce. Now we're going to get into the 2 types of, again, the finest pasta in the world. And I heard a rumor that you delivered this to the Pope?
Yes, in fact, the Pope is our number one customer.
At the Vatican.
Yes,
the Pope.
I have proof to show it to you. I have the invoices. It shows that it goes to the Vatican.
Wow, I see.
And,
Jeez.
This is it. So if you would like to show it, and it says the Vatican.
Wow, the invoice for the Vatican purchasing the best pasta. And people don't realize the Pope's parents immigrated from Italy to Argentina.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why it's the number one client. I was at the factory a month and a half ago, and there was a beautiful 40 carton pallet going to the Vatican again. And monthly they come in, they just enjoy it. The pasta, it's a beautiful type of food for everybody, give you energy, and it's absolutely tasty. And the combination of the corbata tomato with the mulino di Gragnano dry pasta is unbeatable. It's a gift.
Now, explain the Gragnano. What is Gragnano?
Yeah, Gragnano, like I said, was mentioned before, it is mean a field of grain in Roman, in Latin. And it is a birthplace of pasta, and in fact, you may be able to even get to see Sophia Loren in several movies making pasta. And I have the pleasure to provide to her son. That is quite an interesting gentleman.
The
as a
composer.
director, a composer, yes.
Yes.
And he liked the pasta. In fact, we know each other through my son, children.
He's an excellent composer.
Yeah. And so you know that pasta. It's always Sunday. When you eat pasta, it doesn't matter if it's Monday or Wednesday, it's always Sunday. It is this way. And, to me, it was such an important issue because I grew up in a very simple manner. I'm actually spent my life 7 years in an orphanage. And I remember when we were in the orphanage and when we were given the benefit of the pasta alla domenica Sunday, we were so happy. It didn't matter if the parents came to see us, if whoever had parents, because it was an orphanage. But it is an important feeling, every person that I know, whether the worker, come 12 o'clock, they run down to the local, little restaurant in Italy and have the pasta asciutta with tomato. They just love it, And for me to be able to bring the most natural one, and I am so proud because I'm not only me, but I've been blessed through the serving. We have in Europe, we serve over 300 chefs in a restaurant. Some of them have several Michelin star. Visani is probably one of the most notorious, is the one that changed the taste of food in Italy because he was fighting the French cuisine. The French cuisine was saying we better, and Mr. Visani said he can buy and sew us at the factory. He made an article in the magazine. I don't have the article with me, but absolutely very good because it's so natural, so healthy, and so organic. To the point that when we get the certification for being organic, the people will question us why, because we produce the most organic food in Italy, superior to everybody else. The grain is incredible. The packaging, the water is naturally, like I said, from the Valle di Mulino. I mean, I could go on and talk about it. The question is that once you try it, you will say, yes, it is the best.
Yeah, and so when you really think about the truth in this matter, when you're going and buying your pasta at the store and it has an Italian name on it like Barilla, look at it. It's made in the USA. You think that you're buying Italian pasta. You're not. Turn the package over, look at the back, and it will say made in the USA with an Italian name. That is wrong. Should not be allowed, because where is that wheat coming from? It's probably coming from Cargill, which is grown using Roundup that Monsanto has sprayed all over the wheat so the birds and the flies and everything else doesn't destroy it. So it is so important that you're getting an organic, you're getting a real pasta that comes from the source. It's good for your health. It's good for your stomach. Now, what I would like to do is people don't realize that pasta is not pasta. This is a dry pasta, and then you have an egg pasta. Describe the difference.
Yes, the egg pasta obviously it's an addition of the family of the pasta. Obviously, the egg pasta is very tasty, and the one that I found, and all of this was kind of forced me to do that because when I was approaching the restaurant and I brought my pasta, and they said, well, we do make our own pasta, and it takes too long for your pasta to cook. And then I said, okay, you make your own pasta. And during my research, one of the most important parts was to find what is the value and why the dry pasta has protein and some of the homemade pasta does not have. So I realized that when people make their own pasta, like the old people used to do, when you boil the pasta, unless you go through a process of drying, you will not eat any value. The protein will evaporate with the cooking. Actually, talking to some friend of mine, we realized that was the reason why the Italian make their ravioli, so they can put some meat inside of it there to get some protein. Otherwise, you get zero. So when you go to the restaurant and you eat the pasta they made, unless there is sauce on top of it, you will never eat it. But I did find something very special, and it's called marilungo. It's an egg pasta made in the market in Campofilone. Campofilone is like Gragnano for the dry pasta on the egg pasta. So this little village, there is a contest all over Europe in making egg pasta. They just won the championship in Europe for making the tagliolini. But they make pappardelle, they make fettuccine, they make tagliatelle. So how do they do that? First of all, they go back to the same principle to get the right grain, the healthy grain, the one that grows in Italy, the one that is 100% Italian born and raised grain. So I will explain to you why it's very important to know that. Then they have free-range chicken. They have very healthy chicken. And Marilungo says to me, Giovanni, some other company forced the chicken to eat yellow coloring feed because they want to have a pasta that look very, very yellow. So we don't do that because the moment you alter the process, you add in something that is not right and is not healthy. So we have a perfectly coloring that is done by the natural eggs. With the chicken eat the feed that is natural without any coloring. So now this is very important to understand that. So other companies do that, we don't. Marilungo also goes through the process of drying, and it's an amazing story. What makes a difference? That the first time I got to eat the pasta, that I could bite it, just like when I do al dente, my spaghetti, my other pasta, that is a dry pasta. And I was shocked. And I said, wow, what have I been eating? Every time I eat some egg pasta, it just get glued together, and this one doesn't. Why? So it takes very little time to cook because everything is already pre-done by the drying and so forth. So I did that, and all of a sudden, I found that it's the most tasting having the addition of the egg. So it's another another division of the pasta, which is another family, but is very, very satisfying and very nutrient.
And what percentage of egg is in this?
We do 37 to 40%. We're the only company that does that.
Wow.
Successful. And it's an amazing story. I can prove it. We have certification. Everything that I have, like I was saying before,
yes.
I do get the certification for the organic.
Yes.
I'm also certified kosher in the pasta because it's important for me. So the Mulino di Gragnano and the Marilungo are certified company. They will present and take the product to test and say, yes, is what we do, we say we do. A lot of companies don't. Now, when you go back to the origin of the grain, unfortunately, if you look in the boxes and if you find added vitamin on the pasta you buy, they mean that this grain does not come from Italy.
Got it.
So this grain comes from Canada and United States, and unfortunately it's a Monsanto. The problem with this grain, that it maybe was intended to grow healthy, but they had to spray the ground, then they had to spray vitamin, then they had to put the grain inside of a boat that goes for 40 days in the ocean, and when it comes out, in Italy, because unfortunately a lot of companies now buy it, because the process of the Monsanto grain is very valuable to the industrialized pasta. And the problem is that when we make the pasta in Mulino di Gragnano or the Marilungo, you had to put it on a drying concept and place it, and it takes 72 hours. And that is time-consuming and costly. With the industrial pasta, if you sit in front of the machine, the moment it flies out of the machine, it dries instantly because of the chemical that is into the grain.
So that very interesting. I mean, people have to realize the care and the bespoke nature of drying this pasta using time instead of chemicals.
Right. So this is what makes the difference. Now, one problem that's occurring in Italy now, I have to say that is sad. And remember that some part of Italy eat pasta 4 to 5 times a day. It's like the hamburger or whatever the meat used to be for the American people. So all of a sudden, a lot of people have been complaining having intestine digestive issue. And although Monsanto has been saying, no, there is no problem, there is no cancer. So some of the Italians that, of course, in the United States, you don't eat pasta as much as they do in Italy. So what happened, we have realized in some of the southern Italian small villages, they were attracted by the economical price. Because obviously, when you make something with grain, it's so much cheaper to buy. And second, you don't have to go through the process of drying and packaging. So you have a product that's very economically right. So some of the Italians fall for it, and now they're paying the consequences of being pretty sick. There were some note written, and one day I'll give it to you, John, and read it about it. I'm not ready to do that now, but you'll see what is being exposed, the difficulty or the problem that is caused by this grain that is not healthy.
Yeah, I mean, just why is there an increase in celiac disease? Why are people having more allergies? What is going on here? It's because we are part of the food chain. And from a very young age now, people are being exposed to some of the worst chemicals and products being grown out there, and it's going right into your mouth. Your import company, what's the name?
It's called Perbacco Fine Food Import.
Where's that come from? What's that name?
Perbacco is because I was born in Milano, and is an explanation, an acclamation of, wow, so this fashion. So just to give you an idea, if let's say one of your relatives win a lottery ticket, you say, wow, Perbacco, I mean, it's a strike of fortune. But Perbacco, Italian means also Bacchus, which is the god of fun, food, and wine. So I figured I want to bring the food for Bacchus. I want to... Yes, that's the chosen name that I have, yeah.
And where can you purchase this? Where in the U.S., especially here in Southern California, can we get our hands on these? I want to go right now and buy them.
Well, I have a few markets. The one that has really been very successful with me, and I didn't realize why, but the reason when we started with Vicente Food Market in Brentwood, I stopped one day and I left the product, and all of a sudden it was flying out of the shelf, and they told me that the number one first buyer were private chef for people that live over there. But obviously, no, there is a number of places, like I just connected with the place called the Great American Seafood Company in the Golden Cove in Torrance, and all of a sudden, this thing is just, the guy, Tim said to me, Gionvanni, I know you told me there was a good tree, but I am shocked by the number of people that come in, although we don't have a lot of people come in, they just tried it and like it. So there's several places that I have a website, and then if you look in the website, we have a name and addresses where to buy it.
PerbaccoFineFoods.com.
Yes, PerbaccoFineFoods.com. Look at that, and I will be very glad to give you some suggestion and address.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Gionvanni, for coming and really bringing the finest pastas and sauce from Italy there is. And I really look forward to your success here in the U.S.
I'm glad that you give me this opportunity. I want to thank you very much, because to me the message, above everything else, is to make sure that people give to their children and to themselves good food, because life is already difficult. Imagine having bad food. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for joining me today on Truth in Food. I'm John Robert Sutton. For more information about this program, please visit my website at suttonselects.com.